let's talk about this BLM stuff that you found. A parent has got in touch with you. Maitland High School, which is obviously not too far from Newcastle, for those that don't live in New South Wales. Can we have a look at this here? Tell us what this piece of paper is.
Well, it was taught in Year 7 English. That's the first problem. It's hard to understand why a news report about a Black Lives Matter protest that goes on to make allegations against the police for racial profiling needs to be the subject of Year 7 English. You'd think this is more down the line of political indoctrination. The material contains a quote from a New South Wales Greens MP. It's supportive of the protest, which was against the wishes of the New South Wales government, very clearly for the health safety reasons. And it's not balanced out in any way by the fact that Black Lives Matter, if you go to their website, a self-confessed neo-Marxist organisation, defund the police, support for every radical cause under the sun, and to then ask the student to fill out questions about criticism of the police and racial profiling without any clear evidence. It's just one person saying this happened to them once without any balancing information from the police or reports about the truth of the matter. So we hear a lot of talk in New South Wales from the Premier about back to basics, but when you get to the point of political indoctrination in Year 7 English, there's nothing basic about that. And you look at the work itself, obviously the class should have been working on handwriting skills, literacy, spelling, studying quality works of English literature, all the things, expressing themselves. You know, these are all the things that English should be about. So you wouldn't blame parents for being horrified that all those other vital skills in life have been ignored, the curriculum has been perverted to go down a political pathway, and we're at the point, Paul, where this happens so often now in the school system. These teachers should be marched out the door on the spot. The government should have the guts to say this is totally unacceptable in schools, send a warning to every single teacher. If anyone who crosses the line again is out, because we do have in New South Wales the fastest falling school results in the world, not just in Australia, in the world. And when you get English thrown out the window and replaced by Black Lives Matter activism and allegations against the police in Year 7, then those results will continue to get worse, and that is the crime. That is the crime against the students, because they lack the qualifications and capacity to lead a good life.
Now, people sitting at home will go, hang on, how does that get into the classroom that quickly? Like, surely there's a process and there's a curriculum. Well, media literacy is the cover under which these sorts of things get introduced.
There's all sorts of covers. At Maitland High, apparently the head English teacher said, oh, it's all about learning context. Well, come on. There are literally thousands and thousands of quality works of English literature, novels, plays, poems, where you can learn proper English skills and develop your own skills by learning from the greats. And you can put any old political content in there and say, oh, that's context and an interpretation of it, comprehension. But that doesn't disguise the fact that this is straight out political content in Year 7 English, when obviously the class should be working on a whole range of different skills.
Well, and it's this thing, out of respect to the family and the student, I don't want to show the second part of it, which is the poor handwriting and the bad spelling and all the rest of it there, where, again, that you would think is the focus.
Well, that's what makes it doubly disappointing for the parents protesting about this. I mean, they love their child. They want their child to get a genuine quality education in the New South Wales public education system and learn skills like literacy and spelling and handwriting. These are natural inclinations of parents, and when it's not happening, it's replaced by BLM propaganda. You can imagine their complete and absolute disgust, and I share that as one of their representatives in the New South Wales Parliament, and I call upon the Premier to have the guts to sack these people on the spot, march them out the door, these teachers, and send a message. It's completely unacceptable. Now, Paul, if we had the best education results in the world, well, maybe you could say, well, everything's going great, but we have the fastest falling. And if we're teaching political propaganda in Year 7 English, you don't have to be Einstein to work out why the system is stuffed, why we're letting down our students, and why a government that just sort of watches this stuff happening
while trying to pretend we're back to basics and we're cleaning up and
we got rid of... This is the reality. Everything else is rhetoric. This is the reality of what's actually happening in the classrooms. And if the Premier and the Minister don't share the disgust of the parents and do something about it, they're not representing the best interests of our community.